business can only scale to the point that it scales its people. If you have staff, the easiest way you can get your business to where you want your business to be is to help your people to get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
But then that applies to you as a business owner, doesn't it? To me, that's a great insight for you, is to go, well, hang on, the business is waiting for me to grow. Otherwise, the business outgrows you.
How can it grow if you can't grow first?
Yeah. Well, what happens is, if the business outgrows you, you actually become the brick that weighs it down.
Yeah. You're the liability,
You're the anchor. Yeah, 100%. And not in a good way.
No.
Not anchoring it to where it should be, but anchoring to where it shouldn't be.
Yep.
And it's trying to pull away from you.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast, where every week for about 15 minutes, Caroline and I will share with you some tips and tricks to scale your business without unscaling your relationship, because that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years. And as always, joining me in the chair is Caroline.
Hello again, Mark.
And I decided not to give you that different sound effect.
Like clapping.
Oh, no, you want the clapping? There we go. All right. Okay. All right. It's all about you. Hey, let's talk about growth. In this episode, I want to talk about how you grow your business. So we focus and we specialize in businesses that are run as a couple or with your significant other. But the reality is the principles apply very similarly across any service business. So what I want to talk about today is, how do you grow your business? And you've got a view, Caroline, and one that I share with 100%, is that growth starts in one place.
Yeah, leadership.
Right.
It's got to start with the leadership.
Yep.
If you've not got falls into you've got the right people in the right seats, you also have to get those leaders to be able to lead in a way that suits the group and suits the values, but you have to be the leader. But
Caroline, what about the market, right? So my business isn't growing because it's the market or consumer confidence or, all of those sorts of things that we hear all the time when we first start working with people.
The market's always going to be, there's always going to be a hiccup in the market.
It's going to happen. It's going to have an influence.
There's always
right?
something.
Yeah.
With all due respect to farmers, and I'm from a farming family, it's either too wet or it's too dry. There's too much rain or not enough rain. And so there's always going to be a problem. But if you've got good leaders in the business, they will make the business flourish. They will bring the rain.
Yep.
And then they will make the sunshine.
Yep.
So if you invest in that leadership part of your business, it might cost you a little bit of money, but if you can invest in that leadership skill and that leadership strength, then the money and the success will follow.
Yep. So what about somebody listening to this episode right now and they go, okay, that's great. I don't have a team, right? It's just me and my wife or me and my husband or me and my brother or whatever. So it's me and a significant other, a family member that I'm in business with. We don't have a team, so we can't invest in leadership. We're the operators. We've just got to keep operating. How do they deal with that?
Well, regardless of what sort of partnership you're in, whether you've got 5 staff, 2 staff, each of you will have different roles and be responsible for certain things. So if you can ensure that the engine on your responsibility is working correctly,
yep,
then you can both have a successful business. One's not going to go off the rails.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you said to me recently is it's really about this transitioning from being an operator to an owner, right? So you've got to stop thinking about the day-to-day operations of the business all the time. And if it's only the two of you, that's very difficult because, let's say you're a tradesperson, right? And there's, as is often the case, like you're the tradesperson and your other half looks after the admin side of things. And so you get caught in operational things. But the reality is if you set some time aside, and we're going to talk about some of these things you can do, but actually setting time aside to think like an owner, not an operator, right? Shift the focus from doing to leading the business.
Yeah.
And that really comes with structure and discipline, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you've got get those plans in place, we go to our accountant and talk about what our business plans are and those sorts. Well, we talk to our coach about business plans.
Yep.
But if we don't have that big picture of what that is going to look like, we can't rein into the small things and the small targets that we have to be able to achieve that.
And I think it's really hard to have that big picture when you're dated. Let's use a tradesperson as an example. So let's say you're a sparky, you're spending your days crawling through roof cavities and things like that, and you're going from job to job and you're trying to work out supplies and things that, the tools and the things that you need and driving from place to place. It's very hard to go, you know what, I just think I'll stop and think about how I'm going to operate, how I'm going to own this business. You've got to have a dedicated time for that. Right. I mean, it's like, that's the thing, right? The risk you run is that as coaches, we go, well, this is all you need to do. And people go, well, that's great, mate. But,
what happens with the day to day?
Yeah. When am I going to do that? And so what we're saying is we know you're going to get caught in the day to day, but at some stage in the week, if you set aside a dedicated time for the two of you where you go, all right, let's think about this as owners. Where do we want this business to go? Yeah. What's the clarity on the growth? Who's accountable for that? When are we going to take time to reflect on what it is that we're doing? So we're really running from operated owner, from doing to leading in the business. So, Caroline, you've actually had a bit of your own reflection on this, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I looked at it. I was just, you have questioning moments or confidence moments. I just looked at it with it and I thought, the business is actually waiting for me to grow. I need to look at what I can do differently or how I can change my thought patterns so that we can take the business to the next level.
Yeah. I mentioned the other day in our team meeting that a business can only scale to the point that it scales its people, right? So if you have staff, the easiest way you can get your business to where you want your business to be is to help your people to get to where they want to be, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then that applies to you as a business owner, doesn't it? So to me, that's a great insight for you is to go, well, hang on, the business is waiting for me to grow. The business can't, otherwise the business outgrows you.
How can it grow if you can't grow first?
Yeah. Well, what happens is if the business outgrows you, you actually become the brick that weighs it down.
Yeah. You're the liability,
You're the anchor. Yeah, 100%. And not in a good way.
No.
Not anchoring it to where it should be, but anchoring to where it shouldn't be.
Yep.
And it's trying to pull away from you. We've worked with a number of clients over the years. Probably one that springs to mind for me is Terry, who came to us and said, look, I just want out. Got a good business. It's making good coin. I've got, a dozen people working for me, but it's driving me nuts. It's my whole life. I get no time to think about anything. And I've lost my way. And so can you help me to get the business ready to sell? And what he realized is that, like your realization, the business was waiting for him to grow. And what he needed to do was change his mindset to focus not on the business, but on the people and to build those leaders up.
Yeah. When in that case, it's really hard. It is hard to grow when you're feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
And if you can get yourself to a position where you can see the other side of the exhaustion.
Yep.
You can see the other side of working on the tools every day and going out to jobs and quoting, coming back and doing your book work, whatever. If you can see past those things and look at how you can make shifts in what you're doing.
But that's the value of dedicated time for that. So, I mean, all we did with Terry, was just go, okay, let's sit down and look at where, in a perfect world, what would this business look like? The question I always ask people, if you're walking down the beach and you stubbed your toe on a lamp and the genie popped out and said, you can give you 3 wishes in the next 12 months, what would they be? Once we knew what they were, we were able to go, well, hang on, you actually need to change your leadership thinking, because what you need to do now is stop focusing on the day-to-day and all of the things that your team aren't doing and start focusing on how can I build the team up to get the right people doing the right things. Now, we often say it's this, right? It's the right people in the right seats with the right tools and the right support. As it turns out, he had to let some of his leaders go.
But it was interesting. One of his leaders was very, very good and just championing at the bit to take the next level up in his career.
And he's now on the precipice of taking the business over.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years on. So it is a matter of changing that. So, we started this with the business won't grow without you growing. And sometimes so here's a really important point, Caroline. Doing more isn't necessarily growing, is it?
No, you can't. You can, if you're at capacity is capacity. You only have a certain amount of capacity. If there's, 2 of you are only a small team.
Yep.
It might be a case of outsourcing to be able to get capacity, outsource the things that you don't need to be doing. And that falls back into our activity we do with our Mastermind clients.
Yep.
But invest the time in bringing people that are underneath you, that are working with you up so that you can scale up.
And a couple of the things that Terry did in that case was he introduced really clear KPIs. Yep. So he set the expectations super clear. Guys, I want you to step up and this is what that looks like. Because, you get to say to somebody, I just want you to do better. Well, I don't know. What does that mean? Right?
It's not getting here 10 minutes earlier.
No. Or staying back 10 minutes late, or an hour late, or 3 hours late. Because just running faster on the mouse wheel, the mouse can run as fast as the wheel still doesn't actually go anywhere.
Yeah.
So he set up some really clear KPIs and expectations, and also I think some delegation frameworks.
If you're having, he definitely did that. Worked really well for them.
Yep.
Having the clear guidelines on what that needs to look at and how they can get the support that they need.
Yep. So if you're looking at your business and you're sort of going, do you know what, I'm just not sure that it's growing. I think we'll talk about some key takeaways in a minute, but I think there's a couple of really important things. The first is that you have to move from operator to owner. And in doing that, there has to be some dedicated planning time, doesn't there?
Yeah. Shift that mindset gap of the self-awareness and your goals. Make that shift.
Yep, 100%. The second thing is that you need to look at the people around you. And again, if you've got a team, it's easy. If you haven't, it's time to go and just look in the mirror. But, you look at the people around you and go, what can I get off my plate that's going to help me to think differently about the business? What are the things that I should be outsourcing or delegating and creating a delegation framework? And the second thing is, how do I get the best performance out of the people around me?
Yeah. And those people need to have a growth mindset. If you're wanting to bring a leader up who doesn't have a growth mindset,
Yep.
You're almost putting yourself and them in a plan to fail.
Yep.
They need to have that.
Well, we've done that. So, when I took on the CEO role of the Metropole Group, one of the things that we found is there were some people in the business that didn't have a growth mindset. Their view was, well, why grow it? Well, they were good people. They just didn't belong in that role because they didn't
Why not
fit that.
grow it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Why not?
So, the thing about it, I think, is that the business growth begins internally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it begins internally before it can happen externally, don't you think?
Unless you grow, nothing else can grow.
Right. So you can't grow a business beyond your current level, particularly of leadership, right? Whether, leadership in the business. And again, I want to make this point really, really clearly. If you're listening to this and you're sort of going, well, hang on, we don't have staff. That's okay. In Mastermind, we always have a dedicated definition of team, and it's not just people that work for you, but it's people that work with you, people that work alongside you, suppliers, alliances, referral partners, and your clients. So you have to, no matter how big or small your business is, you need to think like a leader. You need to think like a CEO of your business, no matter what the size. And if you change that mindset and you start thinking like that, you will change your leadership mindset, and that'll open the doors for the ability for the business to grow, won't it?
It will. And if you can't see that is going to happen, you can't work out how that is going to move or how you can shift that.
Yep.
Go listen to some more podcasts, go read a book, go and do a course, go to do something that's going to build your confidence and build your mindset so that you can get back in the game.
Got a great book people can read. It's called How to Have a Business, Not a Job, and you can get it at haveabusinessnotajob.com.au, haveabusinessnotajob.com.au. And you can grab that book, which will really take you through the process of exactly that, how to have a business and not just a job, how to scale your thinking. Caroline, a couple of reflective questions. What part of the business is waiting for you to grow, right? I mean, that's what we want people to reflect on after you've listened to this episode, to go back and think, you know what part of the business is waiting for me to grow?
Yeah. What can you do? What's your accountability that you can measure?
Yeah. Sort of what have you been managing rather than leading?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. As always. Fantastic. Good stuff to think about. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Spotify, Apple, whatever it might be, then we'd love you to like and subscribe. But most importantly, we'd love you to share this. If you know somebody who's in business with their significant other, like Caroline and I have been for 15 years, living together, work together, we still like each other, talk to each other, still sleep in the same room, then share the podcast with somebody who you think would benefit from it. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, please like and subscribe. But most importantly, drop some comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. And if there's a particular topic that you'd like Caroline and I to discuss around scaling your business with your significant other, then please give us those details. Until we chat next, as always, thanks, Caroline.
Thank you, Ma. Don't forget to have fun.